Come on, Frank, let's do it. Let's get it started. Let's do it one more time. And 3, 2, 1.
Hello, this is Frank, along with
Tony.
and this is a completely inappropriate podcast.
It's another beautiful Saturday morning for us. This is going to be Monday morning's episode for you. I believe this is episode number 20, the big 2-0. We're almost old enough to drink, we're old enough to vote, but nothing else really matters. What age was 20? 20 sucked for me. How was 20 for you?
Well, yeah, it sucked too. I turned 20 years old in the desert. We were in the middle of fucking desert training.
No shit.
And I spent most of it fucking deployed to Iraq.
Yeah? Anything happened in that particular year that is worth mentioning or that's comfortable enough to bring up?
Well, I'm trying to remember. I mean, Iraq happened.
Oh shit. Womp womp. So, well shit, we haven't done a Marine Memory episode in a while. We're going to talk politics, religion, sports, maybe a little bit of suicidal tendencies, but now that we've rolled into this, let's get into some Marine memories again. How's that been going for you? Have you ever had any like flashbacks, any post-traumatic stress like shit go on in a unfortuitous moment?
Yeah, like in the beginning, every time I would take the back roads, I'd start feeling like I'm back in fucking.
What was it about the back roads? Just the just being away from all the other traffic and.
Yeah,
what?
the countryside. I don't know, the whole fucking the country, and then there's this one particular back road.
What do you see?
I think it's Far, that has a fucking mansion in the middle of fucking patch field, whatever. And the first time I passed by that house, I told my father, I'm like, that's exactly what what Saddam's mansions look like. I told him that looks like a fucking house from back in Ramadi. And things on the road too, like even to this day, if I'm driving and there's like a box in the middle of the road, I'll speed past it.
IED?
Yeah. Funny thing is,
boxes, really?
Yeah.
They just leave them straight up in just a box on the side of the road?
No, they leave them, they got smart about it. By the time I got there, they would put them inside dead animals, they'd put them inside abandoned vehicles. And when I was in desert training, I think it was just before I turned 20, they were telling me that, or telling us that if you see something unusual off the side of the road, call it out, because it might be an IED. And they would get after me because I wouldn't point them out.
Well, yeah. Why are you feeling
No. And they would be like, hey, why didn't you call out that abandoned vehicle? Like, doesn't it seem like unusual? Doesn't it seem unusual to you? I'm like, no. I'm like, what do you mean no? Well, back home there's abandoned cars off the side of the road all the time.
Good point.
Yeah. And where the fuck are you from? McAllen, Texas. and some of them, one actually was like, only one instructor was like, oh yeah, it gets like that over there.
Yeah, understood that. Yeah, it's just certain areas down here. You see 3 or 4 cars parked out the same house for years until the city finally writes them up or something. Until the neighbors finally complain. It's gotten a lot different now, but yeah, when we were growing up, especially back early 2000s, that was well before things started to build up around here. Well, wow, so that was 20 years old, and you were already out there. Ooh, give me the shivers.
Mm-hmm.
Any other situations that come? Oh, so we were talking about having issues when you came back home.
I avoided crowded places. I remember this one time, we were at the movies, and it was fucking packed, and I see this lady reach into her purse, and I just grabbed my brother and I back away, because I'm over here thinking, for some reason, that she was going to pull something out, like a remote detonator.
Just an instinct.
Yeah. And what else? I was in San Diego one time, walking by or walking downtown, and I passed by the mall to the side, and there was this guy. He was, I'm not gonna say he was a hobo, but he did look pretty dirty. He picked up an avocado and he shook it, put it next to his ear,
Oh wow.
and then he dropped it and just crossed the road.
A real odd.
Yeah, and I'm
experience
over
in
here
itself.
tripping out. I'm like, is that
can't-
that's gonna blow up? But
Can't
it's-
be what I think it is.
Yeah, I'm like,
Wow,
but it's an
man.
avocado.
And that's something I don't think that would ever cross my mind, that it might have been a grenade or something
Yeah.
like that. Wow, that's stressful, man. What? How long was the worst of it? Do you feel like that's abated a bit with time,
A bit.
or does it still? Is it still? How long has it been now since you've been out? Over.
About 10 years this spring.
So this is 10 years
This
down the
summer.
road,
Yeah.
and you still feel like this comes up at times.
Yeah, every now and then I'll feel. I haven't in a while. But
Do you remember the last time?
sometime before the meds.
Can you?
Oh, when I was working for Pizza Hut, I went into this. It wasn't a new neighborhood, but it was a neighborhood I had never delivered pizzas to before, and it was dark, and I don't know how to describe this other than a building without a roof.
Okay.
And I had to walk through there, and I started feeling like I was back in Ramadi doing a night op, and I was clearing the halls, you know, behind the windows and everything, with boxes of pizza in my hand, and I have
A very odd mission.
yeah, yeah, and I got back and you know, I was like, well, that was intense. And
Yeah, you felt a little tense inside.
yeah, yeah, and then the first 4th of July that I got to work for Pizza Hut, it didn't get pretty intense, but there was an incident where there were these kids popping fireworks, and then one of them just fucking lit up the sky as I'm walking over to deliver the pizza, and I just take a knee, and nobody thought it was strange, or maybe they did, they just didn't say anything. But I'm like, you're here.
Maybe you just did it casually enough to not be too noticeable. I guess.
Yeah, and I'm like,
But so that firework goes off in the sky, and it was just a quick reflex thing
Yeah.
to just drop to a knee, make sure you assess your surroundings. or
yeah. Well, I'm supposed to lay down, especially
Can't do that with pizzas.
in a place like Ramadi where it was. I called it Sniper Town. You know, I'm like, why did I take a knee? I was supposed to, maybe because I was fighting it before it happened. So then I only got as far as the knee.
Right, I could understand. Yeah, I can see how that would compute. Intense, brother. Have you ever seen anybody, or do you have, I think you've talked about it before, do you talk to somebody about this every once in a while with
Oh,
the VA?
yeah, the VA. I'm seeing this.
What kind of assistance do you get with the VA for PTSD?
Psychologist and a psychiatrist.
Okay, so somebody qualified to give you pills, and the other one qualified to tell you it's your mom's fault.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to think about the difference there, and I'm like, no, I don't, because I'm seeing both. So.
Well, I know, but I don't remember which one. Only one of them was able to actually prescribe you medication.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the psychologist.
The other one can only recommend it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, one can give you medication, and the other one just talks about your feelings.
Yeah, your feelings. That's what I do here, so don't knock it, bro. I like talking about your feelings. They're important to me. I want you to be happy.
Yeah.
I want everyone to be happy. We all need to find our happy, Frank, and be excellent to each other, as you're one to say.
Mm-hmm.
So again, so you go to the psychiatrist, psychologist. What benefits have you seen from that? Have you seen any? Do you feel one is more helpful than the other? You want to break down how easy it is to get help from them, just to describe for people who don't know the ins and outs of what it takes for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the help is there. Just, you know, it's up to you whether you want to receive the help or not. You know, just go into your local VA and ask to see somebody.
So it's not as difficult. I mean, it's always kind of portrayed on television that it's super difficult for.
Well, it's hard to get an appointment because what people don't understand. See, people are college kids are saying they want free healthcare, and what we the veterans keep telling them is that, you know, do you want your hospitals, your clinics to be ran like the DMV?
Yeah, because that's what people don't understand. Canada has free healthcare, right? And it's amazing if you're sick, you got a cold, or you got a, you know, just tonsillitis, something they can check out, see the physical problems of you right away, diagnose you, get you out the door. That's amazing. That turnaround's great. The problem is you break your toe, you break your ankle, you have a concussion, you need MRIs, CTEs. It could take 6, 7, 8 months before you even see any sort of professional to get that shit done.
Yep.
So here you pay for the immediacy, you pay for the ability to get treated before the problem gets any worse, when it's a much more severe issue like that. Like, so there's benefits and drawbacks to both of these,
Situations, outcomes,
yeah,
things.
Both slice it all. I'm gonna cut all this out together until I figure out what the word is I want to use. We're not moving on from this.
Okay. Well.
Not organizations. Both of these systems. Systems.
Yes,
Very simple word. It's
so
two
simple.
full syllables to figure out there.
You could have brushed it off with things.
No. I don't like that.
Okay. But yeah, that's one of
the little bit of OCD I got is I gotta get the fucking word out.
Yeah,
Man.
that's one of the problems our VA here in McAllen had. That it was just the clinic
Overflow.
and then it didn't expand. It branched out. I guess it's the same thing, you know. And now it's not as difficult to get an appointment, but it is. It does take a while for you to be seen, and that's because you know, 3/4 of the Marine Corps is from Texas, and about
No way.
and about 3/4 of the people that served in the military from Texas are from down here.
3/4 of the Marines?
3/4 of the Marine Corps is from Texas, and then out of I think it was since World War II or World War I that 3/4 of the volunteers came from the RGB.
Holy,
You know,
from South Texas.
so 3/4 of the 3/4 are from here.
Sorry, I'm writing that down because I want to fact check that and get back to that. I feel like that's a whole conversation in itself. We can find an episode on. Holy, badonkadonk.
Yeah. Yeah, so, the VA needs help in other states, other cities, and...
Well, alright, well, that's good to know that it's not as difficult. So the idea here is persistence is key.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't be the one to give up on getting help yourself, you know, or if you're getting help, those people, if you've got a friend who needs assistance getting through the process with the VA, getting their information in and getting the outcomes they need, stick with it, guys. Don't give up, because it is available if you're just persistent. Stick to it. It's important for all our guys to fucking get the help they need.
Yeah, the other problem is that we don't want to be criminalized or institutionalized, so we're not always honest, because the rules are kind of against us in that sense, you know, and the veterans, they don't want to lose their rights, they don't want to lose their guns.
Right, because
so
you can't end up being like a security guard or going to the police force if you have like obvious signs of post-traumatic stress disorder. Obviously there's certain jobs you're going to be unable to get that are probably the jobs you would want, because that's a more familiar environment, but because of the trauma, it can be hard for them to to get those jobs, even though they are already seeking help and showing signs of, because the history is there. It doesn't matter whether or not they've gotten the help already and are showing, you know, forward movement in their lives. Yeah, am I on base there a little bit, or you're looking?
Yeah, kind of. No, that's what I was saying. Well, what I was saying is that there are some rules that prevent us, like people encourage us to get help, cool, but then there are some rules that work against us because we'd be losing our rights, we'd be losing our guns, we wouldn't be getting a certain job. You know, so then people hold back. I hold back when I'm talking to the person that talks about feelings. Yeah, I hold back because of that, because I don't want to, you know, be institutionalized.
What makes you think that you'd be institutionalized? I mean, is it just the fear that if you say this out loud, they're gonna be worried for you? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah, like if you say that you were thinking of hurting somebody in some way, I don't know, they are obligated to call the police, somebody, and be like, hey, this person is about to, you know, go harm somebody. You should probably, or not probably, but you should go see them, and then you get visited by the cops, and then you get thrown somewhere, and then you're like, it was just a feeling.
Has that happened to you?
Have I felt that way? Yes.
No.
Have
Has that happened to anybody you know? My point is
No,
this a founded fear? Is this,
Yeah.
or is it just an expounded on thought
it spreads on word of mouth that, hey, this one guy was fucking said this, and then this happened to them.
Yeah, but there was also word of mouth that that guy doing bath salts in Japan was actually a zombie that had escaped a government facility. Like, there's word of mouth crazy stuff that comes out all the time. My question is, are you scared of something that's going to happen that you have no actual evidence has ever happened, other than conjecture?
Yeah, it's word of mouth and the rules that if you say you're gonna, psychiatrist, I don't know,
because I mean, we all get angry and we all have moments where we're like, oh man, I just wanted to fucking fuck that guy up. He pissed me off so fucking much. So you're saying you wouldn't be able to say that to a psychiatrist?
I can say that, but I have to clarify that it was an
in the moment
expression.
thing.
You know, like how people say, "Oh,
well, that's my point.
I'm gonna kill you."
Like, I think the problem that they're more concerned about is that if they're finding out that you're in the process of planning out this entire thing, like it wasn't just an in the moment feeling or expression of emotion, emoting in the moment, but it's more of a like, yeah, I want to fucking kill that guy. I mean, oh, that piece of shit, I could just imagine fucking getting the piano cord from the other room and strangling him by the neck and hanging him off the balcony. Like, if you get detailed about it, and like if you actually planned out the entire scenario, then there might be some cause for concern, especially if you're the type of person that has shown aggression towards other people. But I'm sure that also comes into play too, that if you don't have a history of being actually physically aggressive, then it's not going to be something that they're immediately going to assume that you would do. Like, my point is, everything's not black and white. Like, it's all situational. You can't, you shouldn't be afraid to be honest, you know. Because worst case scenario, they put you on watch. After a little while, they see that you're not actually doing it. Well, I mean, it's unlikely. All this shit costs money.
Right.
It costs money to deploy people to your house to go fucking drag you out, to lock you up, to put you in court for all these fees. It costs money to do all that. People aren't always looking to just throw it and lock you up in jail. Unless it's good for the fucking PR on the news, then who the fuck knows what would happen.
Yeah,
but nobody's gonna do that to a veteran. Like, you don't see that. I'm sure it happens all the time, and we don't see that shit on the news ever. The only time we see veterans on the news is when the 1 out of a billion who have come back have, you know, lost their minds because something happened, and they, you know, whatever. That's the only time we see anything bad about or anything good about anybody is if they've shot somebody up. That's just how the news works nowadays. But that shouldn't again hold you back. Like the extreme cases shouldn't hold you back from trying to get the help you need.
Right, and then you got lawmakers talking about if you have a history of mental health, you shouldn't own guns, and we're gonna take them away from you. We're gonna,
Well, now there's
disqualify you.
Isn't there a mental evaluation that goes when you go to join the armed forces? Like, don't they have to make sure that you're mentally fit to serve?
I think so.
So why wouldn't we have the same regulations on weapons? If the whole point is that we're about to train you to kill, give you weapons to kill, why not for civilian use the same fucking thing? Like, it doesn't have to be a big invasive thing.
Right.
It could just be a goddamn questionnaire that most people would fake, and if they were smart enough, they'd get away with it anyway. But for those outliers that are just a little slower than the rest, and they're, that those checklists might be beneficial to help people keep from getting guns that shouldn't have guns.
Well, there are background checks already.
Well, I know, but because I hear the argument all the time that shouldn't be background checks because the people that are shooting up places, they're not getting their guns legally anyway.
Right.
Well, the people that they're getting their guns from might be just as culpable and just as affected by mental disorders as well. The kind of people that are willing to go buy guns legally and then file off the serial numbers and sell them on the black market for a markup or whatever, maybe those people would have failed an evaluation, not been able to get those guns either. You know what I mean? Like, it's all a chain of effect. Or maybe they would have gone, but you're just adding another step. If you're just, like you say, you need to be persistent to get VA help. Well, if you really want a gun, fucking be persistent about it.
Right.
You'll get it eventually.
Yeah.
What the fuck do you care if there's one or two more extra steps to go through? Just because, it takes up too much of my time. They're like, well, fuck off, dude. Too much of your time might be too much of some other pieces of shit time who fucking doesn't want to take an extra step to go do it the right way, and he just has one less gun in the arsenal to go shoot up fucking Miami or whatever, wherever the fuck they're shooting up nowadays.
Yeah. Okay.
Miami just came to mind. You're looking like,
yeah,
what happened to Miami?
No, because I'm like, wait, what was a recent incident? I'm like, I can't remember. But
El Paso, just outside El Paso, there was one. There was Ohio. Right. There was Colorado.
Yeah.
Pick a state, dude. In the last 7-8 months, pick a state. It's insane.
Yeah. What happened? No, yeah, but then that guy you're talking about that gets them that sells in the black market. Maybe the guy knows a guy in Thailand and gets them shipped in here.
Well,
perfectly mentally healthy.
I'm very well aware that there are guys in the Marines, in the service, that maintain these connections that are able to get weapons out of the military. They buy 2 or 3 defective weapons at a time. They bring them home. They fix them up and they resell them. Like, this is our military that does this. I am aware of this happening. I can't say much more than that.
Well, there's always going to be a few bad apples.
Right. So there's always a way around it.
Yeah.
The problem is, why are you not going to put buffers in the way of the routes that we know of and that we can control? It's like there's kiddie porn on the fucking internet. It's not something that any Tom, Dick, or Harry can get on. You'd have to fucking... It's the dark web shit, just like buying drugs online. You can do anything you want the fuck online, but there's a hell of a lot of little tiny regulations, sanctions, blocks, filters that go on that you can't access that shit easily. And that's a fucking good thing. Otherwise... Yeah. I'd be still fucking doing drugs today if I could just order shit online and have it delivered to the door. Like, nobody would know about it. This is all Bitcoin or whatever, and untraceable. You can't even prove it was me. It was the neighbor who got this sent here. I don't fucking know how it got here. If I could do that, shit, bye wife and kid. Like, I just fucking OD'd in the next year. Like, there's a reason we have these regulations. And I know I think our number one argument between us is regulations versus less regulations.
Yeah,
I'm all for the regulations we got.
Yeah, my argument is that we already have about 5,000 pages of regulations on this one item. So is 5,001 pages going to make a difference? And
I
you say
think
yes, that it is.
Well, no, I feel like consolidating regulations is the right way to go. Like, but making up it. I mean, we don't need 150 laws saying why we should, or we don't need 150 regulations, right? We just need one regulation that encompasses it all. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there shouldn't be 50 people to check your bag at the airport. You know, one is enough.
Yeah.
You know, with the right equipment, like, especially now with AI, all the technology we have, how the hell can we justify having all these people in office, all these people doing file work? Like, we don't have the fucking algorithms to pull out the files we need for the government when they need it. Like, search keywords. You do it with our fucking Facebook our Facebook profiles and our, you know, all our social media. The government's and companies are taking all this information. They can tell you exactly who each and every one of us are, but we don't know who each and every one of the people in the government is at this point. Like, we have their search histories too. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, just last night, my brother was going over the proposed new amendments for Texas. You know, the new laws, and we had to go over a few times because they use these words, and you're like, what? And then
No kidding. You know, and I think it's something to do with the monotony of paperwork and the monotony and just needing to be precise with your wording to make sure there's no other thing. But for instance, I was at my son's parent-teacher meeting for his special education meeting, and they're going through all this paperwork, and basically it's saying, we're giving your son the help he needs. We're aware of his needs. We're observing him. This is what we've observed. This is what we're going to continue to strive for in the future. Simple shit. But they put it in like each one of those one sentence things I just said was a whole page and a half in itself. And it's all just verbose bullshit that's just filler information, filler talk, repetition in the paper to make sure that there's no litigation that could come up later. And it's just stuff that I couldn't pay attention to if I wasn't very well aware of what kind of information was about to be sent to me, and it was brand new, like I hadn't done this meeting before, basically, I would have been completely lost. As it was, I had to ask a couple quick questions to make sure I had grasped what they were saying. But this is the government style paperwork, and it's this educated person speaking on paper. Is what it is. Like, just somebody really, really trying hard to make sure no information's left out and you understand everything. But in over communicating, like I am one to do, in over communicating, the overall message gets lost and the information gets lost in it. So sometimes in order to make a law make more sense, we need to cut the fat.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm for. The same regulations, make more regulations, but cut the fat in these regulations. You guys are just making too much of a hoodoo about just the non-important things in the thing. Last example, my son, the only thing he's really having trouble with is word problems in math. And it was exactly what I'm saying. You give him the numbers by themselves, the formula, he can figure it out. But you add all this fucking fat in between the numbers, all this stuff that doesn't matter, all of a sudden it's not the problem that you could focus on. It's the problem with all these words, and well, does that word really mean what it's supposed to mean in this situation? Like, it's the fat that gets us bogged down in a lot of this paperwork.
Yeah, so just fucking keep them simple, like straight and to the point. Don't throw in all these fucking Latin words and all this extra explanation.
More frank, less Tony.
yeah, like what was it? The one proposition was I'd been saying all year how it's the no sales tax law that we're gonna get rid of sales tax, and after going over that one,
how does that work?
After going over that one, it wasn't that.
Yeah, there's no possible way.
It was to get rid of the state income tax because.
Whoa, wait, hold on.
Yeah, like you get federal income, right? Once a year.
Right.
And the reason why it seems like Texas is due state income tax is because
Like I'm sorry,
you
like
do
it
it-
seems like Texas what?
doesn't do the state
Doesn't
income
do.
tax, like the income return, but at a state level. The reason why it seems that way is because the state does it along with the federal, so you're doing them both at the same time. And,
okay. I didn't know that.
and what the proposition is to get rid of the state part and only federal.
Okay, so we pay less into taxes overall, but then we'd also receive less
Yeah.
income tax, of course. The less you put in, the less you get back. People don't get greedy and be like, I want my money too. Like, if you're not putting into the system, don't expect the system to put out. Just like a prom date.
Yeah, don't be claiming your brother's, son's, nephew's, uncle's.
Oh man, I know a coworker. He was still living with. Well, now they're split, but at the time they were still living together, him and his wife, and they were filing separate, just so they could claim an extra $500 or something, whatever. Somehow they had figured out a way that if they claimed separate, they would get more money accumulatively. I was like, that's douchey. Like, do you live together? Do you support each other? Yeah. Claim together, dude. That's the system. It's people like you that ruin the fucking system. Like, I know it's a little thing, and I'm sure I've got family that would do the same thing. I am such a stickler for the rules. Like, if we've agreed that these rules need to be in place as a community, we need to follow them as a community.
Otherwise, why have them?
Otherwise, you ruin the system. That's the reason there's chaos and anarchy and all this.
People find the loopholes, man.
People find the loopholes.
And they fucking exploit it, and it's pretty common down here. And
That's how we got Trump. You know, that's how you get a Bernie Sanders. That's how you get politicians in general. You put these loopholes in place for them to exploit. They exploit them to the best of their abilities to enhance the financial possibilities for the companies that are tied to them. Like, that's why this corruption, that was the word of the loophole. That's why this corruption exists.
Yeah.
Because loopholes will always be there in people. It's just human nature, man. We always want it.
And then you're supposed to be honest, because there's consequences if you're not completely honest with the government.
But it's against human nature.
But then the justification is, who's going to find out? And I'm like, well, have you ever heard of this one little trick called audits?
Audit. Have you ever been audited?
No.
How do you get audited? I'm sure there's a way to get audited.
Yeah, by lying in your tax forms.
You see, I'm so unaware of it because I know for a fact it will never happen to me. I am so careful. Well, it helps that my dad's tax agent and CPA. CPA? Certified public? Yeah, CPA.
Uh-huh.
I got that. Initialism. Not an acronym.
It's an acronym.
No, acronym.
No, okay,
Acronyms is like scuba, right? It says it's its own little word or unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, initialism.
Initialism.
Get that shit right, neon. Neon. By the way, you posted something on Instagram stories that had me all nervous and a titter because it was a retweet of a white guy, I think, using the N-word, and I was like, if you were posting a retweet of a black guy, I would have been so much less worried about it because, okay, he didn't say it himself on our behalf. It was another guy saying it on his Twitter, but he's black, so he can use it. But then I was like, oh, okay, well, it's just some black oh, that's a white dude too using that word. I'm like, we're gonna get kicked from Instagram.
No, kids call themselves that.
No, it doesn't make it okay, stupid. Stupid. No, look at me. You're about to justify something that you can't justify in this day and age. Let's just avoid. No, N-word is off the table. It's just off the table. It's always going to be off the table. We will get shot. There are people. They're moving here from Houston after all these floods and stuff. We have a community of darker people in our area. You cannot upset these people. And we used to be those people here. You couldn't upset the Mexicans. We're getting outnumbered here by whites and other nations around because we used to be little Mexico here in deep South Texas. Now we're gentrifying all around the place. It's great. It's beautiful. I love it. But you got to respect the authority of the society we live in.
Like Dave Chappelle said in his Netflix
You're
special.
not Dave Chappelle.
No, he said that he walked up to the person in charge of censorship in his for Comedy Central, and he's like, hey, so why can't I say, I don't know if it was gay or faggot, I think it was faggot, and they're like, oh, because you're not gay. And they're like, oh, so I can't say faggot, but I can say nigga. And they're like, yeah, because you're not gay.
Oh, yeah,
and he's
but
like,
I'm
well,
not a
I'm not a
nigger
nigger either.
And then everybody claps. So like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's like saying dude nowadays. Nig.
But it's still
if you
not.
add the R,
Don't-
then
just
it's a no-no.
don't. You just can't do it. You just can't do it. It's not worth the risk here. I mean, we're in Texas, so I guess we're okay. But in general, we're reaching out to the masses here. We shouldn't.
Yeah, but I'm telling you,
tickle the taint of the
that's
terrible.
what kids are calling themselves nowadays, and
Kids have called themselves a bunch of things.
yeah, and
Why don't you just
that
call?
came
All
from-
right. Well, then from now on, you're a greaser.
okay,
Okay. It's
Okay.
just not. It's just a stupid word to call
Yeah.
saying you. What up, my grissom?
yeah, okay, or
It's
Bina.
so dumb. Yeah, see, so I understand that they're just words.
Yeah.
They shouldn't mean anything. But they mean things to other people. Just because they don't mean things to you.
Right, but I'm saying now it's okay if it ends with an A.
But it's not.
It's
You think
you're
it
not
is.
comfortable with it.
Right.
That's the point.
Okay, I get a little cousin who's as white as can be, and he's like, nigga, nigga, nigga. I'm like, dude, I would slap you if I was, like, not your cousin, much less if I was of a darker hue. Like, I couldn't believe that he would say it so flippantly. Like, it's just how we talk. And they're like, dude, you have blonde curly hair. Like, what are you doing? But I think my bigger problem with it is that he comes from the same background I do. Like, we're
Yeah.
a middle class, very gentrified Hispanic family who doesn't have anybody in our fucking immediate surroundings that talks like that. But all of a sudden he goes to Austin for school or whatever and ends up, using that word all the time. And of course I think he probably talked like that with his high school friends too, right? But again, all his high school friends are little white boys. Like, if you guys had any sort of black community have you guys, you would have beat to death. It's not my cup of tea.
Well, the more hurricanes we get, the more black people we're getting.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They say they can't swim, but they must float because every time a flood comes, they just float right on down here.
Yeah, because it doesn't flood as bad here. That would happen. No, if it makes you feel any better, which I know it won't, that is actually a meme and it's making the rounds.
Which one?
The retweet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's making the rounds. It's being spread.
I guess.
So it's okay.
I feel like the things that you say are being spread are really only being spread in your communities. I feel like you have a very centralized bubble that you live in.
Maybe because I had commented on a certain somebody's post, somebody who were trying to get on the show, that she had put a graph about the election results by county. It was either that or registered voters by county.
You're losing me.
Out of the entire country, Texas is mostly red, like it's red, except parts of Austin and that one county in Dallas,
Really?
and most of El Paso.
That makes sense. All
And
those
then
places.
the entire RGV was painted blue, all the way up to what was it? The county above Laredo County.
It's a real interest. I don't want to talk about our immediate political surroundings because I got too much family in this area.
Yeah,
I'm scared.
So then,
Well, let's get inappropriate. It's a bunch of fucking ignorant people that don't even watch the news, that read the fucking headlines of Instagram or headlines on Facebook. They don't read the full articles.
Yeah, so then this lady, I tell her, I comment on her post. I'm like, yeah, the southernmost area of Texas, that's all in blue. That's where I'm at, right? And then her being a conservative, me being a libertarian, like I'm both fucking consider it conservative
and libertarian.
and liberal, and progressive at the same time.
So right-leaning libertarian.
Yeah, I'm right of center, and then
No, you're left of center. That makes you a libertarian. But
Okay.
you're right of the libertarian.
Fiscally conservative, socially liberal. That's what I am. So then she
Okay.
fires back with, I'm so sorry. That must be really rough on you. And that's
Wait,
where-
what's really rough on you?
Yeah, that I'm surrounded by liberals because the entire county, the entire area is blue, and then something like that. She commented something like that, and then I was like, well, maybe it's not so bad because I have my own little bubble of, conservatives and some libertarians, and then an anarcho syndicate or two here and there.
That's such a terrible name. Like, it just sounds like you're just a bad guy. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm not a communist. I'm just for the Hydra party. It's like it still doesn't sound good. Like, it's still not great connotation there.
Yeah. Yeah, so then I'm like, maybe that's why it's not so bad here. Or maybe it's not so bad here because people only care about their food stamps and free college.
That's a big issue, is that it's a much lower income area. I mean, usually if there's a lower income area, you're going to get a blue state. You're going to get a blue area.
Yeah.
Lower income just means that the focus is all on the food stamps, it's all on the housing, all on affordable care. And unfortunately, that's just not what the Republican Party represents a lot of the time. At least media output doesn't allow that to be the visual. The problem is that Democrats want immediate, like we're saying, that it seems like the Democratic Party, the Liberal Party, all leans more towards this social activism, this
They want you to be dependent on the government.
well, they just want the immediate results. They want money now. Like,
Yeah.
every time you dole money out, there should be more for me in my pocket, like right now. And the Republican Party is saying, like, look, man, if we play the long con, we do this, this way, we take these steps, it'll take forever, it'll take some breakdown of the government, but eventually you're tearing down a building to rebuild the foundation and rebuild the structure. And the Democrats, it seems, in this day and age, are just going for a whole, let's keep things the way they are, just pull the plugs out of all these dikes, like all this, what am I saying here? The dikes of laws that are put up that are just reducing the flow of government spending, government ability to get things done, that the liberals and Democrats just want to keep pulling plugs and help the flow go faster, help everything move. But then you weaken the structure so much that there's eventually going to be no more regulation and the whole fucking wall's going to come down, and then we're all fucking drowned, like you're fixing the immediate problem, like we need more water now, but then you weaken the structure so much you end up flooding us and we get drowned in the thing that we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
That make any sense?
Kind of. Yeah.
I'll cut it out, don't worry about it.
No. It was a good rant. I'll probably clear it out. So yeah, the conservatives have this motto. The Republicans have this motto: "Pick yourself up by the bootstraps," or not motto, but that's what they live by.
We call them ear pulls.
Right. But they're saying fucking get to work for your better life. Don't be so dependent on food stamps and
work hard for
what's it called? What's it called? When you get fired, you get paid.
Unemployment.
Unemployment. Yeah.
If you get let go, not fired.
Oh, okay. Don't be so dependent on food stamps and unemployment, and then the left, the fucking Democrats are like, yes, fucking, we'll give you free food, we'll give you free this and that, and fucking maybe even free housing, but come the ballots, remember who gave you all this.
Mm-hmm. Now that stuff's not as easy. Like we were talking about the VA. It's the same thing with like Section 8 here is what we call it. You get housing assistance.
Yeah.
And food stamps, I needed it. I was on it. I'm not one of these people that say we should get rid of it. I don't say that there shouldn't be any help, but it also shouldn't be taken advantage of. You shouldn't have 3 kids just so you can keep getting more back on your income tax. Like, it doesn't work that way. An extra grand here isn't going to support a whole child for your next rest of your life, for the next year or whatever. I was on Section 8 for like maybe 2 years, and it took me a year just to get on it. And in the end, they ended up just helping us out with $100 at first of our rent. So instead of this much, we were paying $100 less. Great, that was helpful. Food stamps, we were getting maybe $120 a month, which is great for a 3-person family. That's just enough help to supplement my own money going into that stuff. The next year I got a raise. I ended up having $50 less help on the rent, $50 less help on the food. They're like, oh shit, that's great. I'm making enough money to actually support my family with less of the government's tit in my mouth.
Yeah.
Next year I got a raise. I made 2, my wife started working, my son was old enough to go to school. All of a sudden, I'm off Section 8, I don't have any of the government's tit in my mouth anymore. And I've never felt prouder in my life. I've not complained. Everybody, and there was people that I talked to here in the valley, not on Section 8, not qualifying for this stuff. They're like, oh man, that sucks. You have to pay all this money again. You have to pay for yourself now? Like, you mean I have to support myself fully now? I'm capable of doing that today when I couldn't last year? Oh my God, how terrible. It's like, you guys are ruining this whole system that's set up to help people like me, to help people like you, to help people that are in a tough situation, that are trying to get their life situated when it hits them a little faster than we intended. And it's supposed to help elevate you to a point where you can take care of yourself eventually. It's not supposed to be Daddy Warbucks that takes care of you till the day you die. Like, you don't ask your daddy to support you till the day you die. Like, they help you out till you're a certain age, then they expect you to at least help out around the house a little bit, pay taxes, you know.
Yeah, as veterans, what we get a lot, veterans in college, what we get a lot is fucking, oh, you're lucky, I have to work for my college. And we're like, motherfucker, we fucking earned it.
Oh my God, you wouldn't have a country or a place to go to school. You wouldn't have the oil to drive your car to get to class. You wouldn't have anything, you fucking prick, if it wasn't for guys like our Mr. Frank here and others that have joined the service.
Yeah, and that's what
you didn't work for it. You gave your damn life. So is it just because you didn't fucking lose a leg? Or do I need to saw my leg off to get fucking free fucking school? Like, fuck you guys. You don't even get free healthcare 90% of the goddamn time.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently you have to be fucking 90% disabled to get free, or 100 to get free dental.
And who's to say
really?
that? Wait, you need to be 100% disabled to get free dental?
Yeah, like 80 or 100%, probably 90.
People, you want to complain about you not getting an extra $50 on your Social Security check? Why don't you put in a little more effort to these guys that don't even get fucking their cavities filled for fucking putting their life on the line for you?
Yeah.
Well, shit, man, we're running over a little bit, but this has been a fun one. We didn't know how we were going to start this. I think we floated together pretty well. My cat's going crazy over there fighting the fish.
Yeah.
Got a couple new snails in the tank. We got a new view here for you YouTubers. A little new background for you. See how that's going for you. You guys, you can find us on YouTube. Frank, you want to let them know where else they can find us?
Completely Inappropriate. And on Instagram at CI Podcast. On Twitter at Completely Inap 1P. And you can email us at completelyinappropriatepodcast@gmail.com for all your questions, comments, concerns, and stories you'd like to share. Or maybe, I don't know, flirt a little bit with Tony here, even though he's married.
Ooh, me? No, send all your attentions, love, and excitements to Frank. He needs all your tit pics, and they are not unsolicited. By the way, we are asking for as many nudes as anybody wants to send. Frank will go through them all. And
I'll pick the best ones, and the winner gets a free something.
You get a hat. Get your pick. If show your tits, get a hat.
Oh yeah,
that's terrible. We're gonna have to cut that. That's completely inappropriate.
Yeah.
I've been Tony. Frank, let's wrap this shit up.
Okay.
All right.
We're selling hats.
We're
Okay,
selling
let's wrap
hats.
it up.
Hit us up. Noir and Captain America hat, or a Trucker America hat.
Yeah.
You don't get satisfied.
Trucker
How are we gonna end
America.
this, Frank? Tell me how
Okay.
to end it.
So, this has been the Completely Inappropriate Podcast. What do you say, Tony? What do I say? What do you say?
Hi.
Yeah, I say be excellent to each other. And Tony says,
Find your happy people.
yeah.
Take it easy. I've been Tony, and this is Mr.
Frank.
He comes from his mama, and he loves pie. Take it easy, everybody.